about it all the time because it attacks the very root of your belief system that is rooted in the false belief system of the white man. God, Allah, in the person of black man and black woman, looking toward the leader within. How many times has that voice told us what to do? How many times has the voice of God told us what not to do? And we fought the voice and made reason and excuse to go on anyway and do it the other way. But that voice, if you'll be honest, always speaks to us, always warns us, always says, this is the way that you should go. This is the way you should avoid. There is a divine leader within. And that leader is the muazzin. That leader is the caller to God's way. That leader is the one that calls you to our mustaqim, or to the straight path of the true and living God. That one is the good shepherd within you that tries to pull the flock together and hold the black sheep together and lead the black sheep to green pastures by the still waters. But we are always, after 400 years of our wires being crossed up, our nerves being crossed up, our mental process being mixed up and fixed up by the white man, we have, many of us, lost that communication. There was a time when we didn't need a telephone. Did you hear what I said? Brother, there was a time you didn't need no phone. You wanted to call her up? You just tune right in. Say, yo, what's up? She say, yo, what's up with you? And you can talk back and forth. There was a time. The telephone is a sign or a symbol, and a crude sign and symbol of the state of a people's minds and spiritual state when they were themselves and when they were in communion and communication with the divine. But now we use crude instruments. The television, the radio, all of these are patterned after this. You transmit thoughts over the airwaves. You're doing it right now. That's why in the cartoons they have a little circle over the people's head with the writing in it. Because that is another way of talking about the transmission of power. The transmission and the receiving of power. That is why when we greet each other, sisters greet each other, and they clasp the hand of their sister with a firm grip. Brothers who greet each other, they give a firm grip with their brother. Because it is making the connection, as brothers say. When you hook up the cables to the battery, it can't be a loose connection. It's got to be a firm, strong, direct connection so that the current and the flow of the juice and the power, you got to plug into the juice today. And so when you grab your brother or your sister and you pull your brother and sister in close to you, heartbeat to heartbeat. You pull your brother and sister in close to you, and you go from one side to the next side. That's not a ritual. That's a tight connection and the transfer of God power between one brother and another, between one sister and another, and you are whispering symbolically words of wisdom and counsel and guidance in each ear of your brother and your sister on the left side and on the right side, and putting them in and the scriptures of prophecy and hope. It is the transfer of God's power between the two. That's why the connection has to be not only physically strong, but mentally, spiritually, and morally strong. You must strike what we called in ancient Africa the meiotic balance. The meiotic balance that is rooted in the Bible and rooted in the Quran. The meiotic balance of truth, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, order, and reciprocity. Doing unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Fair play and fair dealing with your brother and sister because you want the same from your brother or from your sister. Getting in contact with the God within. So we pray, and we pray in the audible tone to come into contact with the divine spirit of the God inside of our Kaaba, in the Kaaba, the spirit and the soul of self. This is what the leader is talking about. Getting in contact with your mosque. You are a walking mosque. You are a walking message. You are a walking temple of God. You are a walking cathedral. And when you are your highest self, you are the walking holy of holies. So there are things that you wouldn't think of doing in a building, but when you are alone, you will do them. Many of you wouldn't come in and light up a fire, but join a fire, a pipe in the church. You wouldn't think of drinking in a church,